What is up, friend? Hey, so I was talking with a fellow anti-netter and a Scott Shepherd letter subscriber, someone who recently discovered me, and I was having a VLC call with him, and you will know what that is if you read issue number 8 of the Scott Shepherd letter. Anyway, during this call, this individual named Dan, he's an awesome guy, and he's in his 50s. He's using his anti-net Zettelkasten for personal development to read the Bible and extract knowledge, verses, and just content and material from the Bible in order to become a better Christian, live a better life, enact the true teachings of God, yada yada yada. Okay. Anyway, it's kind of funny saying yada 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 after that. The thing that stuck out for me though with Dan was he has had a fantastic career as a hiring manager for a Silicon Valley tech startup, and he's had just a fantastic career in the space of recruiting. And he shared something with me, a little hack that worked extremely well for him during negotiation. And what would happen is he would be speaking with his counterpart in a negotiation, and Dan requested like a 6% rev share or fee from every single candidate he placed, meaning like he would get paid out 6%, and the person he was negotiating with would be like, no, how about 5%? And instead of splitting the difference, what Dan did was absolutely ingenious, and it resulted in him quadrupling essentially his business every single year. And what it was and what it entailed was he would say, okay, I'll accept 5%. However, in exchange for that, after I land the client, I want 5 referrals from you per year, meaning I want you to refer me to anyone else that has hiring needs or anyone else that could use my services. And in return for that, I will essentially move from 6% to 5%. How does that sound? And his counterpart, the counterparty in the negotiation, would essentially agree, say yes. And what it would do is it would allow Dan an excuse, an opportunity to stay in touch with his clients, the people he negotiated with. He'd call them like 5 times a year. Hey, where's my, I'm calling about my, one of my 5 referrals that you're going to send me this year. And just, then they would shoot the breeze and also just stay in constant and regular contact. And so what it did is, instead of just making 1% more on just one deal, what ended up happening is he would get, 5 more deals because of his willingness to move down from 6% to 5%. And then that had a network effect, because every other new referral he got, which was a completely warm referral, by the way, right? And so he would just have this like internally built marketing machine that would essentially have this built-in viral factor that would scale, because every single one of the referrals he got, he would do the same thing. Hey, I'll move from 6% to 5% if you give me 5 referrals after I blow you away with, my service and what I deliver. And everyone agreed. And what it would do, not only would it, result in referrals, but it would also provide an excuse for him to just stay in constant contact and regularly build out his network, his relationships. And it seems like, a pretty obvious thing, especially if you're in sales. You've probably heard of such a thing before. And I remember reading, there's a fantastic legendary marketer who I've actually met once. And as an aside, this guy, he was such a curmudgeon. He would not take a photo with me, this marketer I'm about to talk about. The guy's name is Jay Abraham, and he's kind of famous. Like, he's been around since the 80s, and he was actually friends with Gary Halbert, and he goes back a long way. Anyway, here's my quick story about Jay Abraham. I was at an event, a mastermind, where you had to pay like $20,000 to be in this mastermind, and you got to attend 2 events per year. And Jay Abraham was there, and I was just shooting the breeze with him one-on-one. And the guy was just bragging about how he can do 80 pull-ups. He's like, I do 80 pull-ups every single morning. And he's like, I'm just laughing, talking with him. And then my assistant comes up, and I had this assistant. She was like a high-powered a CEO assistant that worked for all these big biotech companies. And she, ends up working for me, and she loved her job. Like, she was awesome. And she came up and she's like, hey, let me get a picture of you guys. And Jay Abraham's like, no, I don't do pictures with anyone. Sorry. And he didn't really say no, but he like slithered out of it and said, oh no, I gotta go run to the restroom, or stuff like that. So he was kind of nice about it. But I saw this Jay Abraham guy, do it like 15 times, like different people. And so the reason is, I think why he does that is he doesn't want other people to leverage and use his credibility that he's like built out for like, 30 plus years. Anyway, that's like an unrelated story about Jay Abraham. But Jay Abraham wrote a book about, how to get all you can out of everything you've got. Something like that. That's the title of the book. It was something along those lines. And I'll boil down the entire book really revolved around what Dan, my fellow anti-netter and subscriber, what he, essentially did himself. And Jay Abraham's book was all about just asking for referrals and having this referral mechanism built into your business. And, that's what I want to share with you is using referrals as negotiation leverage. Basically, start with a high fee whenever you're talking to a client in the future. And this may or may not be relevant for you because, most of my audience, you, meaning you, are like independent writers, creators, thinkers, and, you may not have a business model yet or ever where you work off of a percentage deal. For the most part, like my model is pretty simple, right? Like making 6 figures, multi-6 figures, writing one thing a month in the form of a physical monthly newsletter and publishing knowledge products. But at the higher end of my funnel, there are things such as equity partnerships that, because I'm exposed to a fantastic crowd and a group of essentially entrepreneurs and independent creators, writers, thinkers, sometimes I see some people that I'm like, what? I want to do an equity partnership with this person. And therefore, instead of me saying, hey, instead of like a, 25% cut, hey, I'll go down to 20% cut. However, I want you to, go out and refer and find other deals, other opportunities for me, and have an excuse to hold them accountable to essentially be my agents and go find other deals and other opportunities, and other partnerships for me. So that's just a creative mechanism that I want you to be made aware of, and something I wanted to share with you. So anyway, I'm getting to my office, and quite frankly, I don't know why, I feel like freaking last few days, really kind of tired. And I think it's because I've started once again smoking cigars. Last night I smoked a Hemingway cigar, the same brand Hemingway smoked. And man, I'm freaking wheezy, a little tired. So I think I'm going to cut that shit out. So anyway, hope that little piece of advice helps you too. Avoid getting in the habit of smoking cigars because it affects your sleep and everything else. All right. That's all I want to say. Peace and love, and always remember to stay crispy, my friend.